All right. How about that? Should be working now. Let me know in the comments or in the chat. All good? Awesome. I had to click add stage on my awesome. So I'll go back and cover everything that we just did there. Using the inside bar stat, not really looking like we're going to go and take the high. Now we could go all the way back up to yesterday's high, 628. I'm still targeting up to 629.09. That's a previous day in London gap on the 24-hour that we do need to go fill. So pretty significant gap there. Still waiting for that to fill. We almost filled it on Friday, almost filled it yesterday. Now we're getting another curl over to the downside. Go back to the 15-minute time frame, 629.09, just above previous day's high. Now, if we do happen to reverse all the way up, great. It could be likely. The only reason I add that in is because our implied move for the week is so incredibly low, and we already made a 0.2% drop yesterday. I know it seems like a lot, but our implied move for the week is only like 1% total. Most of it's coming from the rate cut being priced in. So we're still sitting at an 89.4% chance. Not really much change there. So Qs is all covered for a gap fill report. Still looking at 50% of that going to get filled. 75% chance that's going to offer, hopefully that offers our retest. This is all after the 9:30 open, by the way. And then for the initial bounce by rejection, initial bounce breakup by rejection for today, I'm going to go to Tuesday. See if we're overdue a win or a loss on either side. These are still both in line. If the high gets formed first, that one is a little bit skewed. If I go into every weekday, I think that one's averaged at 74%. Give it a check here. Once it loads, that is. There we go. So 74.1. We're only 3% above what the average is, so we can definitely go and take the IB high stat if it does happen to form the high first. If it forms a low, that one's actually 1% below, so it might be due a win, or it's just averaging right now. Making a new low on Qs. Could also do the same thing on gold too. If we go and pull up GLD, this one had no movement pre-market either. I'd probably say this is also an inside bar. Not really anything here for me today. Chop. The implied move I got from going to QQQ, or we can pull up SPY implied move for the week. And it's a little surprising too because it's the FOMC week. I use Options AI for this. So our implied move for today is 0.4%. We already made 0.25% of that move. And then for the rest of the week, it increased a little bit. We're at 1%. So that tells me we might want to push the upside. This was at 0.6% yesterday. Now it's at 1%. So something might have changed in terms of market data or sentiment for the week, or maybe some new positions were opened yesterday. But as of Friday's close, our implied move was 0.6%. And then for Qs, pretty much the same thing. Qs is a little more volatile, so it has a slightly higher implied move. Q implied move for the week. Options AI, here we go. So, no, still sitting at 1%. They're both in line with each other. My guess is we're just pricing in the rate cut, which we more than likely will get. And then plans for futures today, just going to do the same thing we usually do with Qs. Look for, well, I already gave the outline of the plan right there. Look for a rejection off of London 50, which should be, this gap fill stat should be 50% of the gap. Depending on, I don't think we're going to go into the third bracket. We'd have to go to 0.4%. I don't think we'll get that much of a drop prior to open. So we'll see there. And again, we have no data, no significant data today. This is a delayed report. The past week or two of delayed reports have been pretty rough in terms of volatility, or the lack thereof, I should say. What's going on, Mahadi? Roland, good morning. Sam, Slayer, Steve, good morning. How you doing? Nice options I had to talk about it. Yeah, a little bit. I just use it for the implied move. I don't really use it for anything else. It's free as far as I know. I don't think there's any paywall behind it, but I just, whatever ticker you want. If you want Tesla, TSLA implied move for the week. Should have options AI be one of the first ones that comes up right there. It's the fourth one. And then our implied move for the week is 3.7% on Tesla. Actually, yeah, 3.7% December 12th. So Tesla might have a pretty good move into the end of the week. This one is also sitting at, it's actually not really doing anything spectacular pre-market either. I have some cash cured puts open on this still. 19.5s on TSLO. Hopefully these don't get assigned. That's the main reason I also didn't add any more to this position, because I didn't want to add into TSLL Friday or yesterday's open, not get assigned on the position that ended up being in a oversized position. I did see Snapchat on there or on Twitter for quite a bit of flow popping up on it as well. This one I have no opinion on. I don't think it's really going to go anywhere. Something that kind of popped up on the tape a little bit last night. Tesla, not too much there. Him still within that demand zone as well. Supply demand zone. Supply because it's currently underneath it. So we want to get that back over 41.69. If I held my MGC 38-point win, I sold early. Held it on the upside move or the downside. Oh, they just had a $1 drop right before open. So 15 minutes to go as well. 10-point drop just before open. So yeah, that's the game plan for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. Saw my post on Futures Chat. Oh, gotcha. Sweep the low day. Nice. Let's see what Frenchie put in here. Hypothesizing the MNQ will continue downwards to sweep out previous day's lows before a reversal upwards. That lines up perfectly with the data that we're taking a look at. Love it. For that inside bar stat, that validates if we break yesterday's low or yesterday's high. And given that we're pretty much 80% of the way to yesterday's low, I'm assuming that's probably going to tap first. Unless we have some kind of crazy move into open on another low volatility week. The reason that we're looking at this type of volume, I brought it up yesterday as well. We go to volume reports, volume trends rather. This is on Qs. December, absolutely disgusting. I mean, if we go to the weekly time frame as well, the last week of the year has the lowest volume, and this is over the past 3 years. It's like June, July. This is tied for second. So these last 3 weeks are really rough on average. Not a whole lot that we can squeeze out of this in terms of volatility. That's why the implied move is also so low for the week. But what we can do with this is we can just know, hey, it's probably not going to be that great of a move going into today, tomorrow, day after that, all the way until the end of the year. So we don't need to oversize if we see chopping, or if we go on to, screener on here, and everything is, as Andre told me, Christmas tree looking. The more red and green you see, the choppier it's going to be. So if we get some direction, great. If not, we'll just have to sit here and twiddle our thumbs. Gold will probably retrace some of that move. This is Going to open with no gaps, up 8 cents right now. It's probably going to open right at 385. How you doing, Sam? Good morning. It's pretty cool that all the viewers just, or all the chats just pop up in one feed. I like it. Okay. Should be all set. GLD, Qs. I bet this will be the most exciting candle we get for QQQ today. Oh, this isn't Qs. What am I saying? This is on gold. For psych levels, we'll be looking at 25.6 to bounce. That will be that pre-market low, which we did just sweep on Qs. And then I don't think we'll get back up to London high. We'd have to have some kind of news come out. Probably, I mean, the 10 a.m. news could push us there. Implied move for today, well, I already looked at that. Implied move for today is 0.4%, and we're already at 0.24. That's on both SPY and Qs. SPY is at 0.1, so this one has a little more juice in it for today. QQQ, not so much. I haven't had a green candle in the past 2 hours. 5 minutes had a couple. 15-minute has not. What's going on, Diesel? Good morning. Eddie, how you doing? I think I already said hi to you. Good morning. Abe, good morning. Are they still doing the sale on Apex? I still have time to get the 20 accounts. I'm assuming they'll run it until the end of the year. Awesome. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Hymns, still waiting on this one to have a substantial move up. Still want to target up to 46, 45, 60. A little bit higher, a little bit lower. In that range, we need to get to 50%, which is 41.72. 50% of that supply demand zone. We could take a look at, so the initial bounce by break, or for the rejection, we know that we're in line for, that's on SPY. We're good to take it on both high and low. Neither of these are 8% over. So they should have a decent win today. I mean, if not, then it's just a 20% outcome we get hit with. That's fine as well. What's interesting is on Tuesdays, this doesn't add up to 100%. So we've had a handful of Tuesdays, maybe one or two, that haven't taken the low or the high. They've just stayed within that range. I still haven't seen a daily candle that has stayed within the initial bounce. I think we've been trading it for like 4 months, 5 months now, and I haven't seen one that stayed within the range. It's like a 1.5% outcome that it does. All right, so what we're going to be looking for, probably going to have a 2 MNQ entry at London 50 if we do happen to get up to that, and then target down to London low, and then maybe down to previous day's low. Since we are within yesterday's range, that will be further validation to go to previous day's low or previous day's high if we see a pretty strong shift in trend that we have to see price pivot up, I'd say well past previous day's 50 before we start taking those highs or start targeting previous day's high. Now I do want to go and see well, I don't think we're going to hit 629.09 today. I do want to go and see that 629.09 and then ultimately up to 638.40 on Qs. What's going on in Vegas? 4587. This is a new streamer for the stream. Oh, Webull has a pretty good promotion on right now for deposits as well. Minimum reward is at $100. So if you guys want to refer anyone, there's a free $100 for you right there. Seven minutes to the open. Buenos dias, Slayer. How you doing? So this is what I'll be looking for right here. I'll leave that drawn out. The only change to this plan, I probably won't take a trade right off the opening candle, but the only change here is if we have a significant push past London 50. I do want to see that inside bar stat get fulfilled. I'll bookmark that one as well so we can hop back to it real quick. Inside bars, bookmark. And then go to the reports. That did not bookmark it for me. How do you do that? That's mean. I guess we'll just have to click it automatically. I'll get that fixed after. So inside bar report for Qs, I think it's 77%, 72. I guess that's not too high. So 72% chance that we go and take previous day's low or previous day's high for today. 28% chance that we do not. We are only 70 cents from previous day's low, so we should go and tick that real quick, and then we'll get some nice movement for today, hopefully. So hopefully London 50 first, and then we get the move down through previous day's low, and then we can, my guess is we're probably going to do this all afternoon. If we have a breakdown today, obviously for the initial bounce, we don't know what we're going to get, but if we have a breakdown, we'll go to buy levels, say we have a breakdown day for a Tuesday, and that will give us what the anticipated move is after the initial bounce is broken. If we have a breakdown, we honestly have a pretty good chance of continuing lower today. So if we see price continuing past previous day's low, pull out that initial bounce by levels, half standard deviation, my guess is probably down, depending on when the initial bounce forms or how large of a range it forms, probably down to 620, maybe even 619. And that is for a Tuesday, 80% chance we go and hit half standard deviation to the downside, 60% for one, and then it kind of drops off from there. So it's something to note for today. If we see price continuing lower, we can target a little past that initial bounce breakout. Only data points at 10. Yeah. What's going on, KB? What's the overall bias? I don't really have one for right now. What I'm working with is the gap fill by size on Qs. So we're gap down 0.27. It's in the second bracket. We have a 75% chance of filling 50% of it. And then if we go to the full size, customize, there we go. If we go to a full gap fill, there we go. Full gap fill is 67%, 62%, sorry. So I'm going to remain probably a little bearish. We'll see how we react at London 50. That's what we have to wait for. And then depending on the reaction we have there, we can either flip, go to previous day's high, which the closer we get to the previous day's low pre-market, the less likely I think is going to happen. We're getting a good bounce off the newly formed London low. 25.6 is going to be a nice cycle level for us to bounce off. If we hold that, then we should have further validation to pivot back towards London 50. This is the move that I'm anticipating. It's not the one that I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be playing the rejection if we do get a rejection there. Gold hasn't moved. Let me take a look at gold's initial bounce as well. I don't think it's really that good for Tuesday. If we see the low get formed first, then we can take it to the high. I think the overall average on this is in the 60 percentile, though. We bring up every weekday. IB by rejection, 68 and 52. So if we see the low get taken first and then form a high, we can maybe take a long on MDC. Take a couple cons there. Holding 25.6. I'll leave that drawn. I'd very much like to get an entry today, unlike yesterday. Hopefully it doesn't take off without us. Shorting 4-hour OF till 4-hour RB. Let's see. That would also be previous day's low. I'll go to the 4-hour real quick. Yeah, just down to previous day's low. If you're talking about gold, then that would be 385 and then 384. So two pretty nice dollar breaks. And we are open. Let's see if we get a nice push up to London 50. If we do, we'll load it up with 2 MNQ short to start. I think we were okay to size up. 1 minute going up. Is that the EMA, Sam? We should be okay to size up because the moves aren't going to be that large or that drastic. So I don't think we're going to have too large of a stop if we do happen to be wrong. That was almost 50% of the gap filled. Not quite. That little tiny wick almost filled up to it. That might be the best, the highest it gets before pivoting down to previous day's low. We'll see. Probably not going to take any on the first 15-minute candle unless we do get up to London 50. If not, we're just going to watch it flush through London low and previous day's low. And gold, nice little push up. So this one, we ultimately want the low formed first. That's the better stat to take. The high being formed first, only 52% of the time it goes and breaks the low. 35% of the time it goes and breaks the high. The closer this is to 50-50, it's just regular price action at that point. I like seeing it looking like this, 68%. About to go hit previous day's low, which will fulfill the inside bar stat. Unfortunately, we did not get up to London 50, so no entry. Him's getting a nice move at least. There we go, Steve. I'll pull up. Actually, we don't really need to watch MSTR. We want TSLA below 1950. We want it below 1950 bad. We have up to, we sold them for $68 a contract, so we have up to $20.20. Any of that flow come true on Snap? Not really. Not yet, I should say. We are, with that low, we are 8 cents away from previous day's low, which will fulfill that inside bar on Qs. And all we have to do is go and take that by a cent, and then that will no longer validate it being an inside bar. Just needs to go and wick past previous day's range. So status open within yesterday's range. Bearish target 621.69. Am I off by a little bit? I am, yeah. At 71. And there's previous day's low taken out. Could have a small bounce off that and push back up to London low. It's pretty tight range. Frenchie's looking for a reversal as well. London low is where I'd want to see it reject again. If I haven't as even formed yet. That wick did not get up to 50% of the gap, no. So our close to today's open, we barely missed it. Missed it by maybe 10 cents. 10 cents on the dot. So we have fulfilled the inside bar. We no longer need to look at this. This one played out 72% on that. Should be refresh now. Hasn't loaded quite yet. Good jump off of that level. If we get a closure over 25.6, then we could look for a long. I'll also line up the London low. And London low is 25.589. It's a little bit off there. There's that retracement on gold we were looking for. Another 10 points right back up. Grab two small 2M&Q scalps on that, $40 a piece. There you go. Now you're done. All done, Steve? I keep thinking my trading view's frozen because I'm so used to the move that we were getting the past 2, 3, 4 weeks. Really, since April this year, we've been getting like $2 ranges within the first couple of seconds, and now we're getting a 40-cent range in that same time frame. For a couple of weeks there, we were also getting like $3 to $4 moves. Quite nice. All right, so we want a closure over either London low. We want to see up to London 50. We want to see could get all the way back below previous day's low. Nothing quite yet. Maybe. Today's payout day, isn't it? Well, I don't know if that influences your payout. Massive higher time frame SMT with ES. Are they doing the opposite like they did yesterday? They are. They are indeed. Which one of them is lying? SPY led Qs down yesterday, so we'll see if we get a nice continuation. Continuation of this pop. That's the low of our initial bounce formed second. We had that wick up to 623.52, and then the low get taken. If we go and take a new high, then we'll flip what we're looking for and start looking for longs. As of right now, I'm going to stay short bias. Now, screener shouldn't have anything yet. Oh, I X'd out of my edgeful tab. How dare I? Screener is reading to start. Slightly bearish, but this is overall neutral. This is perfectly mixed, I'd say. Five minute makes it a little easier to see which IB was formed first. Form the high on the 3 minute and then the low just below previous day's low. Candles flipping green, just about at 40 on HIMS again. There we go. How about bull and MSTR? Nice on bull. Nice on MSTR. Very nice on Tesla. If it could close right here, that'd be great. I do not want this to get over 1950. I want it to stay right where it is. I'm just waiting on this candle right now. Anyone have any questions while we sit here and wait? Any other topics to discuss? We were talking about that Netflix deal yesterday, the little rabbit hole where you were falling down, Steve. That was all my Twitter feed was last night. Paramount taking a hostile takeover. Or having a hostile takeover. Yeah, I had no idea about the, or I had no thoughts on them owning the rights to Superman and Batman, pretty much every other DC comic. But now that makes more sense as to why they would want them. Look at that reversal. Holy. A little bit suspect. All cash offer too. $108 billion cash. Backed by Saudi? Huh. All right, so we are flipped on which balance we're looking for now, or which breakout we're looking for. We just went and took a new high on the initial bounce, pretty much right at London 50 as well. Could take a rejection there, I suppose. I think Frenchie's looking for longs. He is, yes. A really nice rejection. Whoa, what was that? What the heck was that? A little wick down. That happened on MNQ too. Too bad we didn't get short at London 50. What is going on here? Did that wick really happen all the way down to 621? Because if so, that's a new initial bounce low. It did. Huh. That was a 5-second wick. Interesting. All you guys see that wick too? Nice. That was weird. I wonder how that order would have gone on Project X. So MNQ did not go and take a new wick low, but Q's did. So we can probably disregard that wick. Low liquidity environment. So I'm assuming the initial balance should stay at 621.62, and then we're still at the high right now. If we get a closure over London 50 on this candle, then I'm going to go long. There's 2 minutes left. 9:41 news. Was there news? Thought we just had jolts at 10. Thank you, Vegas. Hassett, I was right to question those saying there's no need to cut. So this should just further increase our odds. I think this thing updates 5 minutes after, or 5 minutes delayed. Where is the last update? 2 minutes delayed. So 89.4. Trump did tweet last night or this morning that whoever the new Fed president is, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that Powell is done after this meeting, just because his term's up, not anything to do with him resigning or stepping down. And Trump stated that whoever is taking over for Fed president does have to cut rates. I have it be the first thing that they do. I think he said that this morning. That was a perfect rejection. We didn't quite get up to that. Never mind. I lie. We missed it by maybe 2 cents or even a penny. Right at London 50, and then maybe we would have gotten filled all the way at the bottom of that candle if we had put our take profit in at previous day's low or London low. We would have gotten filled on that ghost wick. Kind of puts a wrench in things for what the initial balance should be. I don't think that wick did happen because it's not on M&Q. It's not on NQ either. It's only present on the QQQ chart. This is about 40 points off of London 50. That would have been a nice reaction. For gold, we formed the low first and then the high of that initial balance. So if this one gets a nice retracement, we can look long as well. Long on MGC. If you thought my screen was frozen, it was not. Price just was not moving. We are pinned at 623.05, 623.17. We're at least over 25.6. That's what we just got a nice-ish bounce off of. The reason I say that, we only hit 602, but we are holding that psych level pretty well. There you go, Rollins. 219. Base hit, done for the day. Sweep low day along the London 50. Look at you. Now, may I ask, Roland, is that slippage on those accounts? The ones in the bottom, it says 249, 242, 229, and the rest are all the same. Is that slippage, or did you take other trades on those? I get you. For gold, I'd like to see a little pivot down, retrace some of that candle, and then pop back up, and then we go long. Could also just take a long right off the bat right now. Target for that would be previous day's high, which is that 4 a.m. high right there, because I believe that should also have about the same inside bar stats. So we'll go to report, we'll go to gold, we'll go to the inside bar report. 78%. We should have a pretty high chance of going and taking either previous day's high or previous day's low. We're a lot closer to previous day's high, and it also lines up with the initial balance break. Could take a long right now. MGC. NQ's not really doing all that much for movement. It did take out the previous day's low, which is what we wanted. Had a nice rejection at London 50 as well. And gold looks a little bit cleaner. Pull up MGC. So we could take a long. Target on that long would be, should be at 4 a.m. from yesterday. Yeah, right there. Target from that long would be up to 42.40. So just under 10 points. It's getting a pretty good retracement now. Qs is still doing very little. I'll probably wait a little bit more for either IB50 or this IB to develop a little bit past just the first 15-minute candle. We can take a long. I'm just sitting on my hands right now. Shouldn't have any other. I mean, we might have some from Hassett come out, but we shouldn't have any other unscripted moves. We just have the 10 a.m. news, but that's a delayed report, so we also shouldn't have much of an implied move off that. Oh dear, are we getting over 1950? We are. We have until the end of the week. Keep our hopes up. If these contracts decay down to like 0.3, so just over 50%, then I'll roll the next week 19.5s. I'd like to get a signed and then get back into some cash geared puts though. Tesla's making a pretty nice move. Tesla also opened within previous day's range. Doesn't look like it quite swept it, so very well could go all the way up to the high. It's at 452. Marginal new high on gold. The indicator on Qs, this one automatically lines up with whatever the low is, but I really don't think that wick happens. It's just on Qs. It's not on M and Q. So we can invalidate that and say that the initial balance low is right here. Don't do that too often, but this one I will make an exception because it is very clearly only on Qs. It's not on M and Q. We're 80 cents away on gold from taking previous day's high. Not doing too much on Qs. Let's see if this updated with that Hassett comment. Dropped by a whopping 0.2%. We're more than likely going to get a rate cut tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2, and then Powell speaks at 2:30. In his little farewell address, you think we're going higher? Depends on if we go and make a new low. So we'd have to go below 621.58. We need to get over London 50, or we need to get under that level. I'm not going to take anything in this range. Now, what is piquing my interest is the possible entry that we might have on gold here. Gold looks a lot better than Qs at the moment. Pull up that previous day's range. We're well over previous day's 50, so a bullish bias on that. And then our London 50. Still want to get a line up down to IB50, and then we can take an entry there. So that would be 386.28 on GLD, and then MGC that should line up with about 42.30, give or take a little bit. I'm on the wrong time frame. Yeah, 42.30 still. So we get a nice little pivot down to that level, then we can target further. Yesterday's 4 a.m. high, 42.47 is going to be the target, because that's the high from yesterday's 4 a.m. candle on GLD. Could pull it up on, I'll bring it up on futures. That's 4x futures GC. And we'll get the initial bounce by rejection. 70% chance. That's the average. Tuesdays might be a little bit better. Let's see. Bullish on gold, 90% chance. There we go, and take the high. So this is well over the average, actually, on a Tuesday. This one might be due a loss. Qs is just going to chop you up right now. That's why I'm not really looking at that. Those are our levels that we need to see in order to take an entry, either London 50 at 623.90 or the current low at 621.63. That's off that opening candle. I cannot wait until the volatility comes back. Can't wait. This chat. There we go. London 50 on gold, yeah. That's where I want to see that pull back to. That wick did happen on gold from 4 a.m. this morning, so that is valid. MGC, that is from all the way down here at 1 o'clock. This wick on Qs did not happen. Tesla's getting a really nice continuation. Tesla, for if you guys are interested in taking option trades on this, Tesla for the initial bounce high is about the same as Qs. Not for a Tuesday, though. This is looking rough for a Tuesday. So maybe don't take it for today. I guess Tuesdays do not like the average. All right, there's a good pullback right there. On gold, sorry. Yeah, you just gotta tip your hat. Tip your hat to it. What's going on, another runner? How you doing? K-Rad, good morning. Jake, good morning. Brian, how you doing? So, over the past 5 minutes, we're looking at 3 consecutive candles that are all less than 20 cents. And then on the 15-minute chart, our opening candle was 19 cents. And we also have another 19-cent candle right now. Still nothing. Yeah, 40 is a big level for him to get through. He needs to get well through that. At least, as long as it holds over 40, it's okay. Let's see what Hims looks like for the initial bounce breakout. See if it goes and takes its high. No, that's not very good. It's actually favored to go and break the low, even though the low formed first. But it's 40%, 30%. It's not really anything significant. Could go either way. Decent pullback on gold. Still want a little bit more. This one's also in a pretty nasty chop range. I will, you know what? I'll actually go in right now. If we get filled on it, that is. Richie said might be worth distracting yourself right now. My Hims average is 46.48. Should I average down? It's up to you. My average is 49 on it. I think it still has plenty of potential. All right, we got filled on gold. So the target's going to be to yesterday's high, which is 42.47. And then we will slap a pretty tight-ish stop loss on this. We'll put it at 160. So we got a long on 2 of them, 2 MGC. And that should line up with breaking both yesterday's high, that inside bar stat on gold. We got the pullback we were looking for, and it should also line up with the initial bounce high getting taken. So we'll let that develop. Go and post that here. So long 2 MGC for both yesterday's high and the IB high. They both line up, so it's a little double confluence there. Oh, nasty candle. Oh, we had the 10 a.m. news. Silly me. Just had to wait a minute there. That was a little brain fart. Right off London 50 now, so we should get another little bounce. Stop loss is just below London 50. So if it breaks below that anyway, it's going to go lower. Fine with that risk. A lot steeper of a move, though. $978 on bull. Bitcoin's holding over 90,000. I might take a loss on this one. It's down 68 right now. All I had to do was wait for the news and we would have gotten a better entry. At the same time, I could have pushed it right back up. So there's a little brain fart there. Should have waited. All right, yet again, slow as can be on cues. We need to get over London 50, or we need to get below 621.63. Good bounce on gold. Down 70 on that right now. Very choppy. Very, very choppy. No, I'm not going to add any into that. I'm just going to wait. Where's the stop loss on it? I put the stop loss just below London 50. It's at 4225. So 160 red. Looks like it's going to go tick right now. And it's fine. I could have avoided that by waiting for the news, which I should have done. There we go. We're over London 50 now. So we'll have a better trade set up for Qs to go long. So we want something like that right there. I know that's a little tight for where the London 50 is, but we just got over it. Just barely. Gold still holding London 50 at least. Yeah, we might get a little lucky on London 50 saving us. We shall see. The stat that we're playing on this is the inside bar in IB. Inside bar, we're either going to previous day's high or previous day's low. And that one has a 78% chance of breaking for gold. Should go and hit the stop loss right here unless this isn't accurate. I've gotten damn close there. Oh, stay over London 50. Qs. All right, back down. We need to get a closure on the 15-minute over this level. Nice bounce off of London 50, still in the trade. Almost got ticked out of it. Missed it by, what's that? Low 4225.6. Missed it by 0.4. Holding 40 on HIMS. Come on, Qs. We're cheering on for it to move like 20, 30 cents. It's 14 cents in the candle right now. This is usually gold's moving how Qs usually moves, which is kind of funny. Just about break even now in that gold trade. Almost stopped us out. It'd probably be significantly green right now had I just waited 10 seconds on the trade. I didn't realize it was 10. You close the app for a second and miss an exit. Is that how fast Qs popped up there? Yes. Yes, it is. It was a very, very quick little pop. Screen's not frozen, just not moving. Might go and hit the stop loss on gold now. Stop loss is just below London 50. It has 8 minutes left. 5 minute should hold it. Either way, if it closes under, then it's going to go lower. No need to hemorrhage more money with that trade if it does go lower. Only issue that I would have seen maybe is it's a little different with futures. I don't know why it's that way with MGC, but for MGC on the initial balance breakout, it says it has a 90% chance on a Tuesday. But MGC and gold are the same thing, GLD. This says 75%. So a little skewing data there. Not entirely sure why. I'm going off gold. I do the same thing on Qs. I have noticed that M and Q replicates about the same thing. As you can see, it says 62.5% for M and Q to go and take the high, or low, vice versa, 77.78 for that. When we pull up Qs, the high form first is the same, but this one's off by like 12%. That's why I always use the main ETF. You could use NQ and GC. That one might be a little more accurate as well. But I've found it works best when you use either QQQ or GLD when you're trading gold. It's getting very close to the stop loss. I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again. This feels like we're trading Asia. That's how slow it is. Feels like we are replicating Asia's price action during New York session. I missed the 200-point moves. Bring them back. Bring back the volatility. QQQ just will not budge right now. They fixed the wick. Never mind. No, that was on the first candle. I'm all over the place. I thought it was fixed on the 15-minute time frame, but I was on the 5-minute when we saw that wick. There we go. So stop loss hit. We're below those levels anyway on gold. I'm okay with that stop. If it continues the flush, it's going to go all the way down to previous day's low. It was worth the risk on the pullback. The very least, we got in at like 486.50, 486.40 just about, as opposed to getting all the way in at 387 when it was at those highs. Anyway, I was going to say, so disregarding this wick on Qs, that's our initial balance right now. I'll get rid of that previous day's low just for a moment. That's our initial balance. And if you remember, I went over to QQQ initial balance by levels. So let's say we do go and have, instead of a breakdown day, let's say we have a breakup day or breakout for a Tuesday. And again, this is our initial balance. It's only 624.30 to 621.60. So just under $3 for the range. We have a 71% chance that we would hit half a standard deviation to the upside, and then 14 for 1 and 1.5. If we happen to continue higher, you're only going to target, take a copy paste of the square, half standard deviation, 1 standard deviation. We're only going to target up to 625.64. And then after that, 626.96 only has a 14% chance of hitting. That's why it kind of stinks when the initial balance is super tight, because you don't have that much leeway in terms of, is it going to continue another $1, $2 to the upside, or is it just going to pitter out and stay within this very, very tight range for the entire day? Go back over to MNQ. Decent stop loss. Did flush all the way down to London low. So at least we avoided that. It was worth the risk. What'd you say, KP? 600 each account this month. A very nice KP. Wicking all the way off of that low, about 6 points off of it. 7 points. Not too bad. Still looking for a close over London 50. Now, correlating this over to M and Q, and this is the sad part. Usually you want to catch, I want to catch like 50-ish points on the initial balance break. We're right at 50% of that IB right now. We're slightly over it. So let's say we enter long because we formed the low first, then the high. We're targeting up to the high. We enter long. We have a stop loss at the IB low, take profit at the IB high. Our take profit is like 20 points, sadly. So 2M and Q, that's only going to correlate to $80 with a 20-point move. Stop loss would be all the way down at 25,560. So it's not really that good of a risk reward if we were to enter now anyway, but especially on the reward side of that, we're not looking at that large of a return. You think Santa's on vacation this year? He probably is. No Santa rally. Candlestick Cam, how you doing? What's up? Good morning. I do miss the days when it used to feel like, and this will all pass once we get through December. We'll go right back to how we were trading, I'm sure. I do miss the days when it would be 10:30 and we wouldn't even know. Felt like 9:45, 9:50, but now we're at 10:15. It feels like it's noon just because we are not moving at all. Gold went and formed a new IB low, so it would change that stat, target the IB low. Pretty small scrape on that. Even if we, I mean, extending the stop loss doesn't do that much for you if you think the trade was too tight. That's still from where I had my stop. We had validation at previous days 50 and London 50. We also had that inside bar stat we were looking for. We were 40 cents away from the high. So you would think that would act like a magnet towards the high as opposed to the bottom. But stretching your stop loss just increases what your risk is for pretty much no reason. Still no entry model yet. I'm leaving this green box here because that's what the initial balance should be. I don't really ever do this, but that 5-minute wick, I do not believe happened. It's on the 1-minute time frame even. It was a wick that was $2. So I don't think it really happened. MNQ we could use the initial balance for. And if I pull up, let's go and use a square on here and put the midpoint on the square. There we go. Get the magnet active. Settings, middle line, purple. What a disgusting color combination that is. So there we go. These are lined up perfectly. You can see the wick on that 10 a.m. candle pretty much goes right to 50% of the IB, and the same thing is said for M and Q. Only other trade that I'd be interested in taking is if we get a move down to 50% of the IB like that. And the main reason is it gives us the best risk reward for the trade. If we get down to 25,615, our reward is 65 points. Our loss is 65 points. I think. Or is it 55? 55, sorry. Math was off. Form the low first, then the high. Yeah, bring Santa back. He must have gotten hit from the tariffs. Nothing on gold now. Yeah, a bit of an understatement, King. I did notice that the exact wick price movement on ES though earlier today, so I feel the wick is real. It's only on TradingView though. Did it happen on ES as well? Doesn't look like it. Yes, it didn't affect because it was already within that initial balance range, and that wick only went down to 683.15. QQQ is the only chart that has that. MNQ doesn't have it. NQ doesn't have it. MNQ. So these ones are all. These should be accurate. I would disregard it on Qs. I almost never do that, but special exception for today. Doesn't really look like anything's moving. Like sometimes when we have movement like this, it's just because the individuals are countering each other. Like you'll have Apple spiking up 2%, then you'll have NVDA spiking down 1.5%, and Qs just get stuck in the middle of that. This is all individuals today. NVIDIA is at 0.7% in the red. Tesla's probably the only one having nice movement to the upside. Snapchat, nothing on the flow there. So all that flow was just hoopla from yesterday. I'll pull up GLD again. Messy chart there. Who is Mikey in here today? Can we go and blame Mikey for this price action? No, he's not in here. Damn. Are there any significant edgeful stats on the Asia or 6 p.m. open? The Glopex open? None that I've found. I'm sure there is. If you do some digging on here, you can go to. Where's the. Not all reports. What is it on? There's a way that you can do the Asia gap. I don't think it's the gap fill report. Inside bars, opening range break. I'll do some fiddling around on this later and get you an answer, Jeff. I haven't found any that have been significant on Asia session, though. I do want to put a limit order there. The only thing keeping me from that is if we have some speaker, some news come out, or heaven forbid, just because how low the liquidity is, we have another wick like we did on that first 15-minute candle. It's been sort of random. It seems what the big first move is. The entry that I had on it last night was A off of 25,700, and then it was also off of previous day's 50. So I'll draw that in again. This was previous day's 50. And you can see right where we opened for 6 p.m. I know it's kind of hard to see with all the lines I have here. Sorry about that. That 6 p.m. candle opened last night, pushed us over previous day's 50. Entry was a retest of previous day's 50. And then trailed the stop a little too quick, but then we got the move I was looking for, that 25-point move up. Not sure if you're still watching the stream, Sabine, but this is quite the first day to have a stream on. The best price action there is. If you guys wanted to know what Christmas Day is probably going to be like, because Christmas Day futures are open until 1, I believe. Same with Christmas Eve. This is probably what we're going to get. Slow, low volume day. Retail traders passing money back and forth today. Yeah, retail traders are algorithms. One of the two. Just going to wait for price to get to that level. I'm not going to put a limit order in just in case some kind of news comes out. We could put a limit buy like that and then just put a stop sell on the bottom. Do something like this. That'll be fine. And then our limit stop by 2 would be right there. That's what the order is going to look like. But I'll put this order in for now. This is 2 MNQ long at 25,615. The reason being that's 50% of the initial bounce. We're going to be targeting the high of that IB. Check out MGC bounce. Yeah, it kind of hurt me there a little bit. But that, even with this bounce, it invalidates what we were looking for because the initial bounce high formed second and then the low formed first on that first candle. So we'd be targeting up to the high. Now the chart showing that the high formed first and the low formed second. So we'd be targeting down to the low. A little kick to the gut. Putting this order in on MGC or MNQ, not MGC. What am I saying? This does kind of stink a little bit on gold now. 6 minutes until the initial balance is formed. How much money do we think retail traders have, or what percentage of money do you think retail traders have in the market right now as opposed to big money? Talking about today. I think the stats usually retail has about 5% on any given day. So today, with how slow we're moving, maybe retail has like 20, 30%, maybe even more than that. Four minutes until the initial balance is formed. This goes back to what I was just saying earlier. Not really that keen on entering right now at 650 because our initial balance high is sitting at 670, 25,670. So we'd only get a 20-point move, whereas our stop loss would be at the initial balance low. So 20 points with a probably... Wait, our initial balance isn't even 100 points today? Just over 100 points, 110. So we'd have a 20-point reward with a 70-point risk on that trade. TP for MNQ. TP is going to be the initial balance high at 25,670. Did you fill on that contract, Slayer? Did you get in there early? Cheeky. He left the train station without me. Yesterday's was really smooth, at least. We once we took that initial balance low, we never went and hit half standard deviation. I don't think. Yeah, we barely missed half a standard deviation. That's that red line right there. But the entry for that initial balance was spot on, and we get a really nice continuation. We went and broke the full low. Even though we secured early, it was still a nice profit on that. Just hit London 50 again. Gold is being mean as can be. Yesterday was a beauty. Yeah, I just happened to give it back today. Stinking gold. London 50 has proven to be pretty strong resistance still. I think about the only thing that we could have done on gold was entered after the news. And then maybe if we had entered right at London 50. Either way, this is invalidated all the way around. I'm just spitballing here. Our stop loss might have been just below where that wick low was, and we would have gotten lucky on the trade. But there's no validation as to why it would be pushing back up right now. It just completely inverts that candle, inverts the wick as well. Gold will probably continue moving like that for today. If we end up taking, are we down 140 right now? Or 160? We're down 160 with fees. If we ended up being down 160 on the day, I'm fine with that. It's a little scratch, and we'll just move on to tomorrow. You trade live every day? I do, yes. Every day, 9 to 11. Gold is usually better in Asia and London. I agree. All right, we just got to close. I could have rushed the entry there. I suppose we still, not much of a point in entering without validation, but we can watch this play run through. If it gets over London 50, I'm not going to enter it just because it's only a 20-point break and we'd have a massive risk with the trade. But this is the initial balance breakout right here. We got 13 seconds left. Watch today be the one that breaks right at 10:30 after 2 weeks of them breaking at 11. That would be something else. You're about to hit your full TP Slayer. Valid long here in MNQ, target 693. No, you're targeting it up quite a ways. Oh, 693. Is that just London high? Am I being silly? No. Is that the body candle London high? Hold on, I'll find where you got 693 from. This high? From 530? That's my best guess. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's right. Decent little wick on this candle. This one, we will be targeting up to the high. We're not in a trade, again, because the risk is drastically outweighing the reward here if we were to enter right here, but we should still see it go and take that IB high. I just don't want to risk, even if we go back to 50% of the IB, I don't want to risk 40 points for a 10-point reward because that's what the move is right now. I'm not touching gold again. I just burnt my hands on it. Asia high is much too far away. Yeah, I agree. Our high from, we're about to take it right now. Our previous day's high is way too far away as well. We're not going to go and take that. That's all the way up at 628.87. And then our Asia high is 25.730. That's quite a ways. And with today's movement, that just is not going to happen. Perfect retest of London 50 right now for a long entry. If you want to capitalize on 12 points, go for it. And your stop loss would be a closure below London 50. Hang on a minute here. We might get some luck. Learn this from you. Love it. The Gone box deviation. Thank you, Roland. Glad to hear it. It's a pretty good looking Gone box you have there as well. I like those color palettes. If you guys haven't yet, I encourage you to take a look through the psychological factors that red has on your mind, especially if you have red charts or red candles on your chart. So if you're interested, change the color up on your chart. Just your red candles anyway. It makes a world of a difference. Really nice difference. Still haven't taken the IB high yet. Must I don't have red days. I just blow the accounts because I don't like red. You can change the color of your red days too. I did that. I changed my red to blue. I do. They're called resets. What a wild philosophy. I love it. What's the chance we'll be ranging all day? Probably pretty likely. What I can tell you for the initial balance break, which is what all my trades come down to, we have a 1.5% chance that we stay within the 624.30 to 621.62 range. Technically down to 621.04 because that's where the wick low is on Qs. But we only have a 1.5% chance. And if we happen to hit that, go buy a lottery ticket. Or maybe not, because that would be actually terribly unlucky. Scratch what I just said. Don't go and buy a lottery ticket. That'd be very unlucky if we stay within this range the entire day. We're still looking at a sub 20-point move on the IB high. So not a good risk reward for us to go long, but we can validate the strategy. It's holding on to 150. It should bounce right here. I do need to look into that trade from this morning, Steve. That gold one. I may have, I guess I may have misclicked and entered on accident this morning, but I don't think I've ever had a trade at 3 a.m. Heading off for the day. See you, Steve. We'll be out of here in 23 minutes. If price doesn't break or do something, I'm trying to poke it and tell it to do something. We're almost getting our pullback to our entry, which is nice to see. Yeah, I'll see you, Steve. Have a good rest of your day. Pull back a little bit more, please. No luck. That was a dirty loss on gold. I wouldn't be too worried about the range bound day. It's very likely that we stay within this $3 range that we've made, but I don't think that we stay within the initial bounce all day. We're very close to breaking the high right now. We either get lucky enough to get a pivot down to 50% of the IB and get an entry, or we just watch it take the high and move on. Now I'm assuming SPY probably already took its high. Oh, it did not. ES is actually right at 50% of it. That could be an entry. Let's see. Gross. Tuesdays are not looking good. So SPY only has a 54% chance of going to the high, but 45% there will go to the low. A little too close. This one would be a good entry right now, but the data is not really favoring upside or downside on that. Here comes the high. It's 10 cents away. If it doesn't take it, I'm going to be stunned. Still didn't take it. Come on, do something. Either take the high or don't. I can get on with my day. I don't really want to take it on SPY because the data's not lining up that well. There's the high. There we go. IB high taken. You get your full TP Slayer. I know we weren't able to capitalize on that one. Awesome. What was the total profit, if you don't mind me asking? I don't know where your entry was. I got to do what you guys do and just pull the trigger. Longest trade ever. 200 from Sam, 150 for Slayer, 300 for Sasso. Oh, she just topped all, or he just topped all you guys. Sorry, Sasso. Went from negative 160 to 200. Oh, so you actually topped Sasso. I would pretty nice win on that, even though we didn't take it. Now we could still take it on ES. The implied move would be a whopping 50 cents, which I'm not sure what that correlates over to. I'm not on ES. That correlates over to 5 points, which I don't even know what that is. $10. You were negative 289. The gold trade cooked me. Are you still green on the day at least, Slayer? Are you break even? I'm going to get a screenshot of this. We did not get an entry, unfortunately. It didn't pull back to where we would have had a valid entry. So go ahead and cancel those orders. Locked my ass out for the rest of the day. You tried gold last night and that cooked you. Did anyone else in the stream happen to get that initial balance trade? I know that we didn't get an entry on it, but that was a beautiful representation of how the data works. And now it's sending it right back down. I don't really want to take it on ES. We can go to the full report So if we go to like Monday through Friday, pull up all that data, it's a 66% chance. So it is overdue a win, I'd say. But for Tuesdays, it just doesn't look very good. We could take it with a small position. That would just be either slightly better or slightly worse than the day. I was going to take gold, but I locked myself out till 7 p.m. CST. It's honestly a good idea. If you know you're going to trade, lock yourself out so you don't do anything stupid. Tesla, no! You're too far over 1950. You got to come back down. MSTR, how's that doing? These are all the other holdings we're looking through. Ooh, Bitcoin, 92. I missed that pop. MSTR would have been a good long. How about bull? Last one. Almost at 10 again. Ooh. So with the data, what this is telling me, we cancel all those orders, by the way. We don't have the orders, the long orders, because the initial balance is already done. You're unable to request a payout on Lucid, even though I qualified a few days ago. Probably just open a support tick with them, Eddie. If you reach the requirements that you said a few days ago, but if you reached it today, their platform doesn't update until 5. Sorry. December 4th is when you qualified for it. And that is very odd. Yeah, you can go into their Discord and open a support ticket, or you can go into their Discord is probably the best way to get through to them. What this is telling me, what the data on ES is telling me, I'm glad I didn't take that. This is saying that yes, Q's went and broke its range. Yes, might go and break the low. Or might be more likely to break the low. Q's could pop back up. It has 10 minutes, has to get back over London 50. And that would be a decent entry on MES. But I don't know what would the implied move on that be. I'm not familiar with the points on MES. I'm not going to take it. I just want to know if we took 2 MES, I don't know what the ticks are on that. If anyone can help me out. Was long NQ for IB, but sold break even because of the chop. I do not blame you at all. That was a rough one. Does anyone happen to know how much is a tick on MES? So a tick on micro mini MES is worth 1. Okay. So if we took 4 ticks and a point, if we took that play to the upside, it'd be a 10-point move. It'd be $100 on MES. So if you are interested, you could take the entry off 50% of the IB, target up to the high. It's only a 10-point move. $100 on 2MNQ. But I am going to lick my wounds. I'm going to stay down 160 on the day. I'm not going to engage anymore with the shop. Now, gold, that one did us dirty, especially because it immediately inversed all the way back up. However, this does not mean that we're going to go and take the high because the data is favoring the low being taken for the initial bounce. The only downside to trading gold for the initial bounce breakout, it looks like it would have been a really nice entry. We had a beautiful bounce off London 50. The downside to taking gold for the initial balance is it's like a 18% chance that it does not break out. If we just go to the standard report, I believe that's what it was last time I looked at it. 7%, sorry. So GLD, 7% chance. 18 was combined, silly me. 7% chance that it does not break out. A lot more than 1.5, obviously. SPY, almost back up. Nicer buys today on NQ, but PA wasn't good. Yeah, I agree completely. This was not ideal. To be fair, it is the second last Tuesday to trade of the month with FOMC tomorrow with an expected rate cut. Third to last Tuesday. I'd still say second to last because the last two are both before Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and those ones are not going to have any volume whatsoever. Those are going to be bare as can be. SPY is about the only thing that we have to look at now. Not taking the IB break on gold. What's going on, Waldav? I see you typing. Hit 1,500 each today. Still trying to get that first payout on Lucid. There you go. Wonderful. Honestly, pat yourself on the back for today. This was a damn hard day to trade. Him stock jumps after buyout deal boost. Boost what? Boost blood collection efficiency. Oh, that was the app that they released. That's right. That's right. Obviously, I wouldn't trade my funded that way. I use ShareX app for screenshot, screen recording, and editing screenshots. Thank you. I changed my strategy with the evals going more aggressive on the open as there's nothing to lose but another reset. I wouldn't, obviously don't trade that mindset on anything but evals, but I wouldn't even do that on evals. The whole point of evals is to trade them as you would on the funded account. It gets you into a really bad mindset if you just think, hey, this is only $50. I'm going to go and YOLO it. All right, I have Hims up. Well, probably going to get assigned away on Tesla this week, and we're almost back at 190 on MSTR. Very nice. 5-point move now to break that high. That's looking pretty likely on ES. That would have been a really nice entry at 50%. IBIT soaring. Thursday might be better to trade. Hopefully Thursday is better just based on post FOMC. And I mean, it's second. That one is the second to last Thursday I trade for the year. But keep in mind that big money doesn't, they're in a completely different position than the typical retail trader. They don't trade, I'm going to go ahead and say they probably don't trade the last month and a half of the year, maybe even more. Just because they don't have to. They'll leave algorithms running and they'll leave whatever price target set. There's not any movement that happens in the last bit of the year. There's no reason for it to. Oh, I would have get a probably break even on the day, and the entry would have been like a 12-point move. This price action will make you want to size up because it's so boring. But probably one of the worst things you can do because you size up and then you get chopped out. Beautiful bounce off of 50%. London 50. IB with that break puts our half a standard deviation at 625.85. So if we go and break that level, decent amount of validation there. We have a 70% chance that price would proceed to that. A really nice bounce off of London 50. What about gold? Just going to scratch our head on that one. Nothing we can do about that. That was a very harsh candle. Should have avoided the 10 a.m. entry, but it did end up going and hit the full TP. So the gold also fulfilled the inside bar stat for today, went broke. Bitcoin's soaring right now, I'd say. That's why all the Bitcoin names are IBIT. It's up 2%. Quite a pivot on that. Bitcoin's at 93. 24-hour on this, I do see it going back up to at least 96 and then 98. And then probably done after that. For a little bit anyway. SPY is 11, but I'll stick around until SPY goes and takes this. That will be another validation on the IB. Even though the stats weren't looking all that good for it, the overall average is about 68% that has a single break. And for the high being taken first, since the low was formed first, decent success there as well. I just need to go and wait for another 30-cent move. Just under 30 cents. $0.20 to go. 10 cents. Rejected just before. All right, maybe it doesn't go and take that. We got 190 on MSTR at least. Bitcoin is ripping right now. All right, any questions for me before I head out? Anything from anyone? Going once, going twice. Look at gold now. Don't tell me that, Eddie. I will just because you said so, but that's a little sad. I think the TP on that was like 240. That is what it is. $400 pivot. All right. Any other questions? I answered on SPY. I did not. I'm just watching it. Patiently waiting. It's like 20 cents away. It should go and take it. I don't think it's going to reverse all the way to the bottom. And then Qs, we have like a 70-80% chance going to half standard deviation. All right, guys, that will do it for today. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow, same time, 9 to 11. Peace out.